there are some Asian immigrants in Southern California who have access to a life-threatening drug overdose problem. Like, I mean, it was similar to like ecstasy, but like even more extreme, and it's found only in that certain area. So that's where the crime lord is. And there's been influx of cases out there in, young people, like college students, and they're using it to cope with their depression. And so yeah, it's about two cops, one cop who is, more serious, another cop is like more aloof. One is actually like Indian American, so he knows about India, and then the other one is, Caucasian. So they both go to Kashmir to track down the drug lord and all the obstacles they face, and yeah, so I'm working on that. Yeah.
Were you able to submit it for the Netflix?
No, I just wasn't prepared. I just, with the holidays around, and yeah, I mean, I got familiar with the whole process and procedure. I'm hoping I could just save it, and if something similar comes up, yeah, I wasn't ready to submit it. So yeah, but
At least you tried and figured out what needed to be done so that next one comes about.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is just a work in progress, and just, but so about the Netflix impact, is there going to be another one after this? Like, how often did they update the site?
I haven't heard when the next one's going to be. It wasn't listed. It just said that this deadline was January 3rd on Sunday.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, I downloaded the application and I reviewed, I believe, I forgot what his name was. He came last time. I don't know if he's in today's session. Alex, he sent me like his sample. So I'm just getting familiarized with myself. So I'm hoping that I can have something buckled down. I just wasn't confident enough. But I'm going to still continue working on it because I've already started, and I think I have a good idea. And just, yeah, I mean, if there's something similar that comes up, through the other resources like Inktip or screenwriter staffing or something, I'll have that saved.
No, but you haven't written the script.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll work on it. Yeah.
No, you haven't written it, so you can't submit until you've written the script.
Yeah.
So you've only started it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I wanted to, like, let's say I want to work on like pieces and make it just like a mini series or a series, is there any different from a film full length, or do you recommend just starting off as like writing a full length?
Well, you have to decide what you're going to do. I mean, once you write the feature, you can always turn it into a web series or something else. But you can't submit anything until it's totally finished, and you've gone through the editing process. So
great.
You have to.
Yeah, so it's still work in progress, and I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you. Yeah.
So Peter, can we hear you now, or?
Well, we'll try that. Any better?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Nobody can hear?
Okay, good.
Okay, we'll try this. So hi, everybody. Thanks for having me and being patient with my sound system here. My name is Peter Kingswell. I come from Hafford, Saskatchewan in Canada. Any other Canadians here?
Yep.
You got one, two, all right. So up here where it's a little chillier most nights, and we're sort of surviving this pandemic okay. But it's easy to get lonely up here, so I decided I would write. I'm three novels into a series, and I've had some experience with film, both as a producer at the college level, and then more recently doing a documentary with other people doing the film work. I was basically supplying the kit that made it happen. And I thought to myself, I would like to see if I could get some of my novels turned into a series for television. So since I've forgotten pretty well everything I have ever learned through life, I thought maybe I better join up with something like this that Christine allow me to be here, and perhaps I could learn how to approach that. So I was asked to produce a log line, so that I had to go and find out what that meant. Anyway, there's one.
Great.
And good enough.
Good. Okay, Julian, want to introduce yourself?
All right. Hi there. I'm Julian Martin from an undisclosed location, Iowa, but that's all I want to be specific about. One fun part of my story is that I actually lost a job one time because did not sufficiently protect my identity in one of my screenplays, and so you know, I use a pseudonym and keep my private information a little bit secret there, because let's just say my writing doesn't quite match my career. So so I'm working on screenplay number 9 at the moment, and last time I said I was seeking to crack Act 3, and one important part is I got a nice chair for Christmas, so now I can sit and write without being in pain. And so yeah, it's really nice and comfortable here. And so now I'm 4 pages into Act 3 on my comedy, which is a sort of new Marx Brothers script. So working really hard on making it true to the spirit of the Marx Brothers, while not literally just being the Marx Brothers. So kind of different characters, but the style is very much in their sense of humor. I have a Groucho type and a Harpo type and a Chico type, and so wacky tomfoolery ensues. But yeah, I'm also if you don't know, I'm also a novelist. I've written 1 novel, and I've been querying it, and I do have an offer from a small startup publisher, Lost Boys Press, to publish, but they want me to keep fishing out there for maybe a bigger fish. So, but I'd be honored to be published at all. So when they're ready, I'll probably be there waiting for them. So
good. And you said you contacted Alex. Is he coming? Because I didn't hear from him.
Alex said that he has not received an email invite. Actually, I need to tell you that. So he just needs an email, and he will be, I think, happy to join.
Well, because I sent everybody on Friday.
Yeah, I had some issue. I don't think I received it either. That's why I emailed you, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah.
You don't.
I got 2 emails, so I don't know what happened. But
I don't think I had some problems getting it too. Yeah.
So maybe if you can send him a new invite, he can join.
Okay. So Steve, why don't you introduce yourself?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, hi, my name is Steve. This is my first time joining one of these calls, so it's nice to meet you guys. I'm from Burlington, Ontario. I recently graduated from Sheridan College and the Bachelor of Film and TV. So I have some years of school experience doing screenwriting and that sort of thing. I did a few productions while I was there. And lately I've been working on a series that I kind of been on and off with over the last couple of years, but I just recently finished the pilot. It's kind of like a mystery drama. And I had to make the log line because I didn't have that before. So I'll have to share that with you guys. But yeah.
Great. Okay, Sherry, you go next.
Hi, my name's Sherry. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. I have to dob on Julian Martin. He's located in the North Pole. I'm currently writing a Christmas horror feature, but I mostly write TV pilots and mostly comedy, but I do a bit of sci-fi horror as well, mixed genres, yeah, I don't know, do you want any other information?
No.
I'm pretty pretty blunt and short.
Sheree, how do you, what software do you use to keep your picture from appearing upside down to us in the northern?
It's magic, elf magic.
Yeah.
But her water runs the other way.
The right way.
Yes.
The right way.
Okay, Doug, you're next.
Hi, my name's Doug Nelson. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
You bet.
I assume you can. And I'm an antique retired producer. And I have recently decided to go back into producing. And I have set up my new cable network show. So I'm constantly on the market for quality short films, usually in the 10 to 12, 15-minute range, and to promote their screenwriters and get them out before an audience. I've also recently been approached by the city to develop a new film festival for them in conjunction with their Da Vinci Days celebrations. So I think that's my next project for a while. I'll also go back to when the governor says we can go out and play again, I'll probably go back to teaching more screenwriting, and I will probably do a class in DSLR filmmaking at the same time.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, Vivian, you're new to us. You have to introduce yourself. Where are you from and what are you working on?
Hi, Christine and everyone. I am from Australia.
Oh,
and this is the first time I joined this group. I am an independent producer, and I started with documentaries, and I've produced several short films. Now I started just in the last 6 months, I started to do some writing, script writing. And currently I am writing a feature-length script. And right now where I'm at is I've started the outline and synopsis and have several readers' notes, and I'm incorporating these. So I haven't started writing the script yet. I'm still reworking on my outline.
great. Okay, Shadow, you're next.
All right, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good, cool. So, well, let's see. Last time, was it just after or just before I shot that second unit thing? I think it was just after.
Just after, yes.
Okay, so we've got the edit done right now. I'm waiting for soundtrack final mix on the music. And I have to send, I promised I would send a clip to Doug, I think, but we should talk about it because I'm not sure how to do that to you. So they're coming on in the new year. We have 3 projects launching on Facet TV end of month. We're doing our 3-week run up for promotion now. One is the Sin 13 premiere pilot, which we actually live streamed in July, but for various production reasons, we decided to hold off on releasing it. So the pilot is happening the end of the month, but we're live. We've got the whole premiere red carpet thing streaming at that time, so it'll be like the event. And we have a show called Esco Eats out of Atlanta, which is, we're doing the pilot episode of that. Will also come online. They're right now shooting episodes 2, 3, and 4. I'm supervising producer on that just because I wanted to make sure it came up to our standards for the platform, and they're brand new filmmakers. So that, and what was the third one? Oh, a package of short series that I directed and over the last few years for Levi and LA Films. So there's 3 different series on there, but we're packaging them together kind of as a one thing. So we got that, and then script development for episodes 2, 3, and 4, and Sin 13, and a new series called Hope, a mini series that will be called Hope. And I think I might have mentioned that to you a long time ago, but it's now we're getting down to writing that proper. Well, that's it. It's going to be very busy for me.
Very busy year. Yes, yes. And Pauline, you weren't able to join us last month, so you must have some news about what happened with your readers of your script.
Well, actually, I can't really talk too well today because I just had a tooth extracted.
Oh, no.
Can you understand me?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
yes.
But anyway, everything, my project is on hold because I was on sabbatical last semester, and now I'm preparing to return to the university where I'm a professor. So I'm busy getting all of that ready, but I worked on my script. I did not have the reading of the script because I didn't feel that I was ready to do that. But I made the edits that were suggested by the script doctor, and I'm just still working on some things with it. So that's pretty much where I am with that, and thinking ahead, because I know I won't be able to do very much during the next few months with the semester, but during the summer, I plan to produce some of the scripts that I already have prepared. And I have formed a group of friends who are filmmakers who want to do that with me. And we're we're discussing putting our work on a YouTube channel or something like that. So I'll let you know how all that goes.
And don't forget to tell your filmmaker friends that Doug's looking for short films, 15 minutes and under.
And that's also what I'm thinking about, because I know Doug had mentioned it before, and he stressed quality. So I want to make sure they're the best that they can be before I send them to Doug. But I definitely have that in mind as well.
Oh, great. Okay. And so I finished the edits for my spec Hallmark mystery TV pilot. It's called The Christmas Thefts Mystery. So it's at the Script Doctor. So I should get it in the next week. And then in the meantime, I started another spec Hallmark Christmas romantic script to do with a wooden toy maker who gets a big order from Santa Claus. And I had taken a lot of pictures as research for an action script at Niagara Falls, and I've written 40 pages of that. So I'm going through the photographs because I need them as background research to finish writing that script. So, you know, there's lots of things that are out there. And as we mentioned last year, that, you know, making contacts on LinkedIn is very good at looking for producers. But again, it's very important that you be respectful of them and not be aggressive. You know, if people ask you what you're doing, fine, tell them what you're doing. I know other people are pitching me as producers, and I say, you know, I'm not a producer. I'm a writer, but I welcome their referrals for anyone to look at my numerous scripts of various genres. So just letting, you know, people know what you're doing, so that when they hear of such and such, then they can put your name forward. And I know I had one producer from England, and he's looking for comedy people, comedy writers. But I really don't have that background. And I said I'm concentrating on these Hallmark Christmas scripts because I took a webinar and I watched another webinar on these, and Hallmark last fall had 40 new movies made for this year. And then there was quite a number of other networks that are getting on the bandwagon for Christmas movies. And now Hallmark is starting with their January, I think it was 2nd and 3rd. Now it's Winterfest. So there's all these different kind of romantic situations in the snow. So romance continues all year long. So if anybody's into romantic scripts, that's great. So unfortunately, Alex isn't here, and I resent him the invite to come. So I don't know if he's going to show up, but he had said he wanted us to talk about log lines. And I will be sending you all, I put together a document with all different places that talk about log lines, and one of them is Inktip. And also there's a Facebook group just for log lines that you can submit a log line, and there's an executive who runs that group that will give you some feedback on it, plus other people who join that group that will also give you feedback. And I think some people have submitted theirs, and I also had put mine in the chat, which you'll also get. So it'll be interesting, anybody's feedback on these log lines. And when I took this one webinar on writing Christmas movies, one of the perks was that you would send your log line to the speaker, and then within a week she would send it back. So she did tweak my log line, and then I had to change it even more. So you'll see that in the chat. So Doug, you've dealt with a lot of script writers and filmmakers. Do you have any points for log lines?
Not necessarily for log lines, other than to make them concise, short and concise. Tell me who the story is. Tell me what your protagonist wants. Tell me who doesn't want your protagonist to get it. And that sets up your conflict. And then when you're done at the denouement at the end, you should have some sort of a character arc in there. Your character is going from here to here and all the way back to where he started from. But something is different. And if you can spit your log line out in 15, 20 seconds, that's really all it takes. I see people talk about how many words it should be and, you know, all this kind of stuff and exactly what needs to be in it. But not really. Just tell me your damn story quickly. Don't stumble around and fumble around with, you know, well, it's really about, and, you know, it's kind of like this, and it's really kind of like that, because I don't know what that kind of like is like. Just tell me your story. And the other thing I will tell you, Christine, don't ever tell anybody that you're a producer, because every screenwriter kid on the block will be trying to shove a script down your throat. Never tell anybody you're a producer. Keep quiet. I don't agree with that.
Well, I don't have that on my LinkedIn, so I don't know why all these people think, you know, that I'm a producer or that I'm a financier for their projects. You know,
They think that because they see your name up there, and you know that's why I'm saying that they're going to draw that conclusion, even though you didn't put that conclusion out there. There are an awful lot of hungry little birds out there looking for a mama bird to feed them. And Don't ever tell them you're a producer, and just kind of play it cool. Don't be too aggressive out there.
No.
Hi, Christine. I had a question. So for the ink, for the log lines, you said you've utilized Inktip for that, and in what ways did you use Inktip? Is it?
No, I said I'll be sending you a document with various resources, and one of them is from Inktip that tells you the difference between a log line and a tag line.
Okay.
So I've got about 5 different websites that talk about logline, and they're all basically saying the same, like Doug said. And also they say you don't put the name of your character, your main character, in the log line. You would give a description of them, and you do not give the ending. You give like the action, and like Doug said, the character arc about what's happening. So they, and of course you don't give all the subplots. You want just the main plot that's going to be in there, because the tagline is what they put on the poster, and the log line can be up to 2 sentences, up to 60 words, while usually the tagline is less than 10. It's very concise action.
So, Christine, you have up to 60 words. You have an arbitrary formula for this.
That's what Inktip.
I know. Just keep it short and concise.
Oh, yes. So, Shadow, with your filmmaking background, have you got any tips about log lines?
Well, nothing that I would really add to what Doug said. You know, short and concise, to the point. So, you know, it's a bit of an art to log lines, and frankly, I just don't do them until I'm done my script, and usually until it's going into a package, and then I sit down and go like, how can I best sell this script? Because I don't write from a log line, I write from something else. So, but yeah, short, concise. I don't have an arbitrary thing. 2 sentences, 3, but short, you know. And I think that it really depends though who you're pitching with this log line, because, you know, I'm not a stickler for format. I find that people that worry about visual structure and things like that are not capable of assessing art just in general. So I just don't care. So but if I know it's going to go to a reader somewhere, or if it's going to go to somebody who's an institutional kind of producer, somebody who's been, you know, producing for, you know, a mainstream studio, I'm not going to assume that they know anything about actual creativity. I'm going to say that they're going to want to, because they're going to be used to seeing things in a certain format, and they're going to use that familiarity as shorthand for filtering people out. So I know this, so I'm going to format things for their viewpoint, for what they're used to, and not, you know, some people say respect their time. You know, I'm sorry, this is their job, and if you can't read 5 sentences rather than 6, then you're pretty bad at your. Rather than 3, you're not very good at your job. So I don't think it's a matter of respect, but I think it is a matter of communicating to somebody what they're expecting to get and what they're used to getting. So having said that, I agree with Doug. Concise, correct, but you want to put something in there that makes it different and interesting as well. And that makes it an art form, because it's not just, you know, whatever. I mean, for my stuff, mostly I produce my own stuff, so I don't care. But there are larger projects that, as I said, go outside. The one that went to Netflix, the one we just did a thing for. The log line is a Fantasia on Eartha Kitt. That's the log line. Well, actually, a biographically accurate Fantasia on Eartha Kitt is actually the log line. That's all it is. And because, to be honest, that kind of sums it up. And it also implies the fact that it's an artistic project as well as a biographical project. So, you know, and I wouldn't suggest that as a good log line to anybody necessarily. But so that's just my attitude. Short, when I get projects in, I look at the log line to see, you know, but I don't really, you know, unless it says something about zombies, you know, I'm not going to, I don't care to watch anything about zombies or read it. Or something, you know, I use it as a filter for my own self to filter out things I don't want to read. So, but if there's anything in there that's mildly interesting, I would look at the treatment and go on like that. So really it's, you know, if it goes too long, then you're just taking too long. So anyway, I don't know if that helps, but
yeah.
Actually, what you said, Nikki, is really very helpful, because it's one of those things that, you know, if you're talking to me about a documentary on Eartha Kitt, I know who Eartha Kitt was, but most of the younger people really probably don't know who Eartha Kitt is. So, you know, you have to be careful who you're presenting your logline to. Exactly. If you're dealing with an old-time, you know, an old fire horse who knows these things, you can be a little more lax in what you're doing. I think that your idea of structure, particularly when you're dealing with newer and younger producers, is very important, because that's what they've been taught to look for.
I'm going to add one thing, Doug. Just because, with regard to Eartha Kitt in particular, and because it is Eartha Kitt, people as young as 5 know who she is because of The Emperor's New Groove. So she's one of the very few personalities whose demographic literally goes from 5 years old all the way to 90 years old across the whole English-speaking world. And that's why I can get away with something like that particular thing.
Well, I'm sure you can. You know, like I think I met Eartha, or didn't meet Eartha Kitt, but I became aware of her when I was 5, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, Vivian, you said you're a producer in Australia. Are you pitched log lines?
Yes. The people that I work with are really independent filmmakers, and we always have a log line. I'm always pitch a log line.
So when you read that, that would be the basis before you would ask for the script or the film, based on that log line?
No, not really, because the people that I work with are people I know. And so we've already talked about the film ideas before the script was written. And then I, as a producer, work along with them to produce a log line.
Okay.
So I'm not really in the industry per se, but we have a small group of people we work with, and we help each other produce films. And so I work in the capacity of the producer to help these people produce their film.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, Sherry, you said you've written more series?
Yes.
And do you do log lines for pitching your series, or?
I haven't pitched anything yet. I was hoping to this year start finding places to pitch and try and get my work out there and, you know, sold, produced or something like that. Yeah, but I don't worry about log lines until I've finished the script either. I know a lot of people like to do it, base their story on a log line or something like that, but I don't see the importance of it unless someone really wants it, you know. So yeah, at the end of it, I write. I'll have a few versions of it. Yeah, so.
Okay. Oh, someone's coming And Vivian, if you can mute yourself, we can hear your birds in the background. Oh, great, thanks. Oh, so John, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're working on?
Okay, I'm John Iannucci. I've been to these things before. Christine knows. Missed the last couple, but I'm still rewriting. And like I said, I want to get those things out. I got 2 back from my editor, which is my sister. She was a professional editor, so it's nice and cheap. But and then I'm going to start getting them out, and I'm finishing up the one I told you to do, a narrative nonlinear. There was a problem in that because it was so nonlinear, it was very hard to follow. That's where I'm at. I can't stay too long tonight, but that's where I'm at.
Good. So Steve, in your pitching, how are your log lines perceived?
Yeah, so I haven't pitched anything outside of school yet because I only graduated last year. But anytime we were doing production at school, we always had to pitch with a log line to start off. So basically what kind of you guys have said already, the professors were always expecting very concise and to the point log lines. And they were very, they were very tedious about how the log lines were made. So we were kind of hounded for that in school.
Because, well, now with 9 feature scripts that I've written, I've got a list of log lines, and a producer, I sent him that list, and from that he asked for 2 of my scripts, which I have to follow up on in the next week or so. So that's another thing that you need to do, is first send them the log lines and then ask them, you know, do you need to read a synopsis, or do you want to go right to the script? And then once they've got the script, you have to give them at least 1 to 2 months to read it, especially during the holiday season, before you follow up and contact them again and find out, you know, if they have any interest. And I always put in my email, I welcome notes and rewrites, because nobody wants to deal with somebody who is so paranoid about their script that they won't make any changes. Because Doug's told us numerous times that once you sell your script, there goes your baby, and they can, you know, change it however they like it. And you've heard of famous writers that have asked for their name to be taken off the film because they have changed the script so much that they brought in other writers and changed it, that the original script writer didn't want their name to be on it, or it just became story by this original writer. Right, Doug?
Absolutely. Yeah. I really can't say any more about it than that, but if you're going to submit a log line, who are you submitting this log line through? And if you get it onto a producer's desk, who the hell do you really think is going to read it? Do you think that producer is going to read it? It's going to go through a whole series of readers in the meantime. Any one of them can throw it out, any one of them. And once you get through 2 or 3 or 4 of those guys, then maybe somebody will approach a producer with it and say, yeah, I really think I'd recommend this. Take a look at it. But it's a long, hard process. It's a real steep uphill climb.
That's the one thing I like about my script doctor. I send him the log line, the synopsis, and the script, and he gives me notes on all 3, and he gives me a rating on my script. That those scripts that I get high ratings, I put it in my query letter the producer or the production company that I got a high rating on this script.
When you say rating, what do you mean by rating? I mean, is it a numerical rating or?
Yes.
Okay.
Based on various aspects of the script.
They break it down into segments, and then they'll rate certain things within those segments, like story and format and character development and all those kinds of things. And what I have discovered in most of those, they basically get it down, or try to get it down to a scale of 10 or 100. And that's basically what they do. In order for you to move anywhere along the line, you have to be above 9 or 90. Then they'll start paying attention to you. But it just depends, also on, what kind of day the readers got. So
Peter,
you can't take this as a hard and fast game at all.
Peter, you had your hand up. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask Elsa, but I'm kind of aiming at Doug here. I don't expect that I will ever write a script for anything other than an outline of a short speech or something like that. I see myself as a storyteller and a novelist. So my goal here, what happens is people read the books and they review it and post a thing somewhere and say this would be a logical thing to go on television. And I've been told that a few times, even by people that I like, as well as by people that I'm not that fond of. So I think I should learn about what that entails. So I see my involvement at maximum being as a consultant to the production, to the story itself, because I might know more about some aspects of it than just somebody off the, out of the desk, so to speak. But I don't see myself doing anything other than that as a very junior participant in that process. So am I in the wrong place here, Doug?
Well, it sounds like you're coming forth as a novelist. And a novelist is not a screenwriter. It's a whole different ball of wax. And there are people out there who like to take novels and transpose them into scripts and screenplays. And that's a whole nother art deal all in and of itself. You as a novelist, you're not going to be involved in that. It's not going to happen, in reality. You're going to sell your book, you're going to sell them the rights, you're going to sell them something, and they're going to bring in, whoever they want as a writer who's going to transform it into a script. And you're not going to have much say about it. It'll be a script by Sam Spedisfor on a story by, Peter. So, that's really where you're going to get it.
So I'm in terms of using the concept to sort of lever, let people know that I'm interested in actually in having my work put into a series. How do you do that?
You write it as a series. You write it as a script.
That's what I've done. That's what I'm doing. But then it has to get into the hands of people who might think of turning it into a movie.
Yeah. Welcome to the crowd.
Okay. No shortcuts there, right?
No shortcuts.
No.
Got it.
But if I can add that, Peter, it is a question of contractual negotiation, right?
Right.
So at where you are right now, the normal thing is somebody's going to option the script, and they're going to have a period of time in which to turn it to. They're going to option your book and have a period of time in which to turn it into a script. And if they do that, then you get paid a little more money and they run off and do the production. and that normally you're out of it at that point. But you do have that leverage at the beginning usually it's just at the beginning, to be on as what you said, a consultant. And if it's, I don't know what the content is, but if it's something that is very specific rather than a general story, and with particular kinds of character arcs or a kind of cultural thing, then you have a little bit more leverage to be on as a consultant, and you are the artist at first instance. So if in the translation into the script there are questions, they ought to ethically be asking you, right? Or running things past you, instead of just substituting their own thing. I mean, I think that as an ethical producer, that's what I would do. Or a director, who cares about this? Because why am I taking this property if I don't think the property is worth asking the writer about? So, but as a general rule, in mainstream, we're going to throw you some money, take the script, and see you later. Right. So with independent producers, maybe a little bit more. If they really want a script or the story, you've got a little more leverage, but it's also right at the beginning, because you're never going to get more than you ask for at the beginning. Yeah. It's only going to be cut back later. And so a good literary agent would help with that. Okay. So I would, if you have the ability to do it, I would submit through an established literary agent or manager or entertainment attorney, and they will try to get you the best possible deal at the time, Yeah. So, but it is a matter of, Doug is right. That's probably what happens most of the time, but you do have some negotiating power at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not looking for more than I'm due. I just want to take what I have and move it up to the next notch. That's all.
Yeah. And Peter, what genre is your book?
Well, I'm a member of the Crime Writers of Canada, so it's I guess it's sort of crime mystery. It's not cozy, but it's not hard-edged either. It's stories about bad things going on in rural communities. So it could fall into the cozy trap, but it really doesn't quite get there. It's a little harder edged than that. And there's not a lot of blood, and there's not a lot of naked bodies, but there's a little bit of each. So it's probably, age 14 up, that kind of.
I'm also a member of the Crime Writers of Canada for a very long time, almost right from the beginning.
Really? Okay.
But two things that you should get the free newsletter, and you can see what producers are looking for, and they're looking for a lot of mystery and thriller scripts, and that's inktip.com and screenwriterstaffing.com. You can look at their newsletters, and you can't contact the producers unless you get the paid version. But at least, for a couple of months, you can see what kind of things producers are looking for, before you decide to pay the money. And the one person who's had his books optioned, and I think he wrote the script on it, and he's one of my friends on Facebook, is Linwood, what is it, Linwood Barkley in Ontario. Ardell's nodding her head, right? Yeah,
that's right.
So Ardell, introduce yourself. You came late. Tell us where you are and what you're doing.
Sorry, I had a trouble finding the link for the right week. Yeah, I write murder mysteries, and I just downloaded or purchased Final Draft to work the first one into a screenplay, and it was recommended by a director that I met in Mexico. But yeah, that's what I'm doing is I'm working on murder mysteries, and I too am in Crime Writers of Canada and Sisters in Crime and a few other criminal places.
And where are you located in? Did you say BC?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Vancouver Island.
Okay.
The Republic of Vancouver Island. We pull up the drawbridge before every holiday.
Where on Vancouver Island?
Nanaimo.
I grew up in Nanaimo.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
In Nanaimo. I was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Whereabouts in Nanaimo?
We owned what was called the Beverly Motel at the time.
The Beverly Motel?
Yeah, it was on, at one point, and then we sold it, I guess, in 1968. My parents sold it. Yeah, so I remember Nanaimo, we were right across from Harmat.
Oh, is that right?
Lumber, yeah. And cool.
I was living many years ago in 1980. I was living in a trailer park near Harmac, and they were just building Harmac.
It was right there.
And every
really?
every day at 4 o'clock, they would set off a blast, and all the dishes would rattle, and the pictures would shake. And
there's a little there's a park right there. That you could walk. It used to be like that. It was a long time ago. I was there now, but there's a little park right there. Was a trailer park there, and there was this park made of had some petroglyphs on it. You called it Petroglyph Park. Come to think of it, and
right.
And right beside that was the Beverly Motel.
Oh,
and so as a kid to walk that park. Yeah.
Very
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, welcome here.
There's only a couple of degrees of
yeah
separation from any of us.
That's right.
But thrillers and mystery scripts are very highly sought after, especially on InkTip. Every week when I get my newsletter, they're always looking 2 or 3 producers. And of course, in these COVID days, they're looking for 1 or 2 locations and minimal number of characters. And the other big one is horror. You said something, Ardell?
I was just echoing. You said a minimal number of characters. Oh, they wouldn't look at me then because I have quite a few characters in my novels. It's a trilogy, actually. I'm working right now. I'm editing the 3rd in the trilogy, and it could go on and be a series if it was ever picked up. But anyway, it's set in Vancouver, and the crimes are in the Vancouver area, or they graduate into Vancouver Island and then on up into the Okanagan Valley and into Vineyard Country and into the mountains and that sort of thing. So it's kind of international crime as well. Anyway, but there's a lot of characters, so I'm probably not in their league.
Well, that's just because of COVID right now, people who want to film right now. That doesn't mean that in a couple of years, that wouldn't be, suitable.
Yeah, well, I probably have my scripts ready by then.
Yeah. That's the problem. Anybody who wants to make fast films these days, they want limited locations and characters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these romance movies that they're making, again, limited, and I was surprised to the ones I watched the last couple of days on the Hallmark Channel. Like, it was mainly in a rink, so that was the rink and 1 restaurant. We were never in anybody's house. It was basically the 2 locations.
Hmm.
And they had only a few people in the rink. Like it wasn't, you know, crowded. You never saw anybody outside the rink when they showed the overhead shots. And they had the restaurant scene. They had like a celebration. They had some people in there, but you know, probably 15 at the most. But you know, there certainly wasn't any crowds or anything like that. So that was interesting how they did that one. And another one was in a ballet studio. It was almost all in one house and a ballet studio. They didn't show any other houses, so that was interesting. So if you can keep that kind of limited, so that they can film it in these days, because we don't know what's happening with this COVID. Like it's so bad in Ontario, we're shut down completely, and I can't see that it being opened up on the 23rd, because that's a month since they totally shut us down from the 26th of December. I can, you know, see it keep going for another month or two into the spring until these vaccines are going, but it isn't. I don't know how the majority of the people are handling it, but it's mainly all at these long-term care homes that everybody's dying in. So it's kind of a mixed message. You know, it's the real vulnerable that are dying. I haven't heard about any of the, you know, 20 to 60-year-olds that are dying who have no previous health conditions. You know, like anybody who's dying has had health conditions that are influenced by this COVID that makes them die sooner. I haven't heard of anybody who was like, you know, perfect health and then they died. So,
well, I have 4 friends in Mexico who died, and strong, healthy 45-year-old males and women with no pre-existing conditions. They were all Mexican. No, they weren't all Mexican. Three were Mexican, but they were all friends that, you know, that we knew and hung out with. And yeah, this was our first winter in 15 years that we spent in Canada. So, and the first winter ever that I could spend with my grandchildren, because they were born in those 15 years. And I couldn't spend it with them this year. So it's a bit of a bust.
You know, Christine, you touched upon something that really is important. And I see this all the time from new starry-eyed screenwriters who want to come out and write a tentpole or a blockbuster super script. And they don't realize that, number one, to produce a film, a feature-length film, takes probably 3 to 5 years to go from paper to screen. They're always in a big hurry about it. And the other thing that they don't consider is the expenses. I have a script out here, a wonderful script called Faithfully Executed. It'll never get made because it requires casting the entire Red Army and the Nazi Army in 1945. You know, it's a real nightmare to do. And when you look at locations, every time you write your script and you put a slug line in there, a scene heading, that means the camera has changed position. That means that the crews have changed position, the cameras have changed position, that means the lighting has all changed, all that kind of stuff. Keep that in mind. Now, when we shoot a film, now we may be able to shoot, you know, half a dozen takes indoors in one location, although not in sequence to your film. But keep in mind the number of characters, the number of locations, the costs involved in making a film. And a lot of young, starry-eyed screenwriters just have no concept of that idea.
And
efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
I just said efficiency is the hallmark of success,
Yeah.
I would think.
Right. And last time in December, I was saying that I have 2 horror scripts that I'm working on with one location, and one was in an elevator. And Doug, you told me about the Devil's one, and it's coming from my library. And there's, I think, three or four different movies that have been filmed in an elevator that I'm going to be watching and getting their scripts on it, just to see how I can help my script. And the other one is in a log cabin in the woods. So again, it's one thing to have one location, but you don't want it all to be talking heads. You have to still have some action going on, because, you know, talking heads is mainly for plays. It's not good for movies. People want some activity to be going on. And when you're trapped in an elevator or in a log cabin, you know, like, how are you going to cause interest that people don't, you know, get bored?
Well, one thing I tell people is that, you know, what you're doing is you're writing a movie. The base word is move. So that means action. Simple as that. Now, you know, you can take snapshots, and a movie is nothing more than about 24, 25, maybe 30 snapshots a second. That's all it is. And look at each of your scenes as a snapshot, but link them together. Now, it's that simple. It's not hard.
Have you seen My Dinner with Andre?
Thinking of the movie, what's it, 12 Angry Men?
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, it's just one location. It's just purely talking. But I think it's a story. It's a story that makes a difference. It's a story that makes people, that keep people engaged, and it's the introduction of characters and the character's arc. But you know, it's not easy to make film like that.
Very engaging, 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But there is action. The action is through interaction. It's not them just sitting at a table talking. There's action. There's subtext. There's a lot of things going on in that whole thing that make it an action movie. I think that's what Christine said.
Right. There's also a movie called My Dinner with Andre. And it's from, I'm trying to remember when it's maybe from the 80s, a long time ago, which only takes place at a dinner table. And it's just but it was very, very well received at the time. I don't remember watching it, to be honest, but I remember the movie only took place in a dinner table between two people. It was a very successful film, but it might be worth looking at.
And there's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Right.
Well, My Dinner with Andre was a little bit of a slog, but a more recent one is Lock with Tom Hardy, where the entire movie is him driving his car and talking on his speakerphone. So there's at least moving scenery and stuff going on, and his small mannerisms of pretending, you know, he's probably just sitting there in a studio, but you really believe he's driving that car and all. But I think the success, the thing that makes those kind of movies work is that there may not be much visually happening, but dramatically there's a lot happening in the conversation. So he's got several situations going on with his concrete job where something is going terribly wrong. And then he's got a drama where he's talking to his partner, his girl, and their drama is going on as well. So sometimes you can get past a static background, sometimes with a lot of very potent drama. Buried with Ryan Reynolds is another one like that, where he's trapped in a coffin, and so there's just drama inherent in what he's he's doing and trying to figure out by the time. You know, it's tough. It's tough because it can be boring very quickly if nothing's happening.
I think Doug said it last time I was here or something like that. That's important with these. It's what you're writing for. Most of those that are like My Dinner with Andre was well received by the artsy group. It is an independent type movie. It is more of an art house type movie. And it was received well by them. By main critics, it was panned though. And I think it's what you're writing for. If you're writing for that, I think it's good. But, it's a different group than if you're writing for, main features and things like that. You just have to decide what your audience is, and that's important.
The stakes are important too. I mean, one of the kind of staples that's always interesting, and it boggles me because I'm a lawyer, but are court cases, and people spend hours and hours and hours on screen in court, and the audiences tend to love it. And but the stakes are high, and the drama's high, and the courts are inherently dramatic and inherently high stakes. So it really does, as I can't remember, gentleman before just said, there are things that are inherently dramatic and active, and you don't need all the physical action necessarily, because there's a lot of conflict inherent in it. So it's very critical if you're going to do a single location.
Yeah, the important thing is conflict. Doesn't have to be physical conflict. There has to be conflict though. If they're sitting around talking about what they had at Burger King, it's not going to go over too well, unless you're pointing to Tarantino, that went over well on that one. So
I went to a webinar in Vancouver a few years ago with a lawyer. He was a criminal defense lawyer, Jeff Ray, and he's defended cases all the way up to the Supreme Court of Canada. And he was describing, what the name of the workshop was, What Writers Get Wrong. And but the upshot of it was, besides the details of what to call whom and what happens when, he said that most court cases are dead boring, and unless the writer writes in fictitious drama, it just doesn't exist much, almost never, in a real courtroom. He said that even the most vile murder trials have very little drama in the actual courtroom. And so what we write into a script is definitely augmented from reality. But as long as we get the details of what happens when and who calls what, each, is it Your Honor or Sir or whatever, and the procedure part, if we get that right, the drama part is all added.
Or distilled, perhaps. I mean, a court case could take 3 years. And in a movie, you might present the 15 minutes of actual excitement during those 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Fatima has joined us. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're working on.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year. My name is Fatima. I'm so happy that I could join this session this new year. So I'm working on a feature script. The genre is a drama, and I hope I can finish it at the end of the February.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I haven't heard yet whether Netflix is going to be adding any new contests this year. Julian, have you heard anything?
Oh, not a thing. I don't know.
Talk about the I Imagine. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I think they're done for the year. I don't think they're going to start up again until next summer.
Or not till the summertime?
Yeah, that's what's late spring, summer. That's what I heard. Because everything slowed down again because of the relapse.
Right.
And they had
What's the I Imagine is that the
It's the Ron Howard one.
Yes.
Ron
Yeah,
Howard?
the
Okay.
Netflix. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I imagine Netflix, Ron Howard. Yes.
Okay. Is there a link for the website or?
Yeah, you've been getting those links every time in the other.
Oh, right. Okay. It's not the Impact one. It's different, right?
No, it's the same one.
Oh, it's the Netflix Impact one?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Ron Howard's is the Imagine. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's all the same. Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Originally, it was just his, and then he got Netflix involved too. So
I guess they were going to be funding anything that that they wanted to produce.
because
Haven't
originally
heard anything.
he was only doing one a year because of the cost.
Right.
So he ended up expanding through Netflix. Now he has like 3 or 4. But the genres are very specific. I mean, they're very specific. They got like 4 or 5 specific things in them. I haven't had one that fit yet this year.
Well, they had the thriller one in October, and they just finished the one on Sunday for action comedy.
Yeah, the thriller one was family orientated, though, if you read it. Had to be family orientated, and one of them had to have a female protagonist. So if you already wrote it with a male protagonist and you couldn't get out of that because of the story, you may be writing yourself into a dead end just because of the way the story goes. You know, you were kind of
Is there a way to find out who the winner was? Like which one won? Like, do you know when they did they release that information or?
Yeah, sorry.
Huh? I haven't heard that they released the winners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did. They released the names, not the scripts.
Oh, not the scripts.
You're not going to get those scripts till the film's made.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But where do we find that out? Like, is it?
You go back onto their website.
Go back on the website. Okay. Submit the application. Okay.
But it'll be a while for this action comedy before they'll announce the winners because it just closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, because the one that ended in October, they said they weren't going to let people know until December 15th whether they were moving forward.
Okay.
Because Alex got a letter right away that his wasn't accepted, but then Barbara, she had submitted, but she hadn't heard back. So I was hoping, she had some good news because she hadn't heard anything. So hopefully her email didn't get lost or anything, because if Alex got an email, she should get one too. But maybe they're just taking time, to go through other ones. Oh, here's Alex now.
There is.
Alex, you've arrived. So Alex, we were talking about log lines earlier. So what was it that you wanted to bring up?
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. So I didn't get to I was on another call. I was actually going to do a mini presentation, but it's okay. I was going to just really stress from the new industry person that I'm working with. If you want to look him up later, Giovanni Lampassi. It's kind of like my new, I'm doing an internship with him. So I had a brief conversation with him the other day, and he's going through different topics each meeting. Then we have groups, and then we have individual coaching. But he was really stressing that writers seem to have this battle with log lines, and just embrace it as a marketing tool, not part of your writing. And that was the one thing I wanted to impart on everybody. You have to do it for marketing purposes. Just like a lot of writers, we love to be at the computer, but you are going to have to get in front of people and pitch. It's just one of those things you're going to have to do. So if anybody's struggling with log lines, I met a couple of people in addition to Gio who have given me some really great templates to use. So if you want to reach out to me, I can email them to you and kind of go through them with you if you'd like to. But again, just embrace it as a marketing thing. That's the main thing that he got across to me, and I'm going to share that with everybody. In
So
the
I
chat, I'll put my email for anybody who wants to contact me.
And I said earlier that I'll be sending everybody a document. I went and researched on Google all various different kinds of sites that talked about log lines and how to write log lines, and that Facebook even has a group where you can submit your log line for discussion and critique.
That's very cool. So maybe I'll just send it to you, Christine, and you can send it to, and to the group. But if anybody wants to kind of sit with me for like 10, 15 minutes to go through log lines, I'd be certainly willing to help if I have, the right time. I know everyone's on different time zones, so. But it's available to you guys.
Yes, and in my research, they were saying a lot of people are confused about log lines and taglines, the taglines that go on posters, that they weren't giving enough information in their log line, or the wrong information. And Doug was clarifying that for us earlier.
I think Roadmap website has some session during the months about the log line. Also, you can send your log line to them like 24 or 48 hours before the meeting, and they will help you to improve it.
But is there a cost for it? Because I know.
No, it's free. It's for free.
So which meeting is this of?
I found these meetings on Roadmap website.
So the Roadmap writers?
Yeah.
Because I had checked their website. I'll have to check that again, or if you've got the link, Fatima, then if you want to put it in the chat.
I think it's the Wednesday of the third week of the month.
Or when they have their meeting.
Yeah. It's like I think 7 or 9 p.m. our time, like Toronto time or New York time. I will check it out and I will put it in the chat.
Okay, great, thanks.
Christine, do you have any more items on the agenda? I wanted to mention another thing, whoever is interested.
Go ahead.
So hi group. I'm also working with someone very famous on pitch decks and actually writing grants, because we're going through my non-for-profit clinic to do some educational videos, but they're not, this is how you put on a condom and blah, 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 nothing like that. They're health related, but they would be dramatic shorts where an educator would, show her classroom this short film that we produced, and we'd get these kids focused on the topic of the day and be a great icebreaker. So if anybody wants to discuss anything about pitch decks, I'm really learning a lot about that. And if anybody, this is a one-time shot, if anybody is really interested in writing a short, contact me. It has to be 5 or 6 pages only, a couple of characters, maybe 1 or 2 settings, okay? I can send you some samples. These will be reviewed by the other executive producer. When I contact you, I will let you know who that is. So this is Mr. Oscar winning dude, okay? So a nice chat with him today, and we want to, initially we're gonna do 4 films in our project, but we're gonna expand it to 8. So we are gonna be looking for some more scripts. And there will be a small stipend if we get the grant money, okay? So It's not like this will be a freebie. This will be a good experience for you to work with someone who's embedded in Hollywood, and there will be a small stipend if we go into production. So writing shorts, okay, is extremely difficult. I don't need to remind you, Mr. Nelson talks about them all the time. They're their own monster. So if you really have a inkling or you've written shorts and you'd like to write something a little different, then please reach out to me. My email's there, because we are opening up to a few scripts. And Christine actually just talked to Jacob yesterday about probably putting out a advert with him to look for some formal shorts. So I may go that route as well, putting an ad.
Now,
well, Alex, what you say is shorts are probably the most difficult thing to actually write. And I always suggest to new starry-eyed screenwriters, you go write a short first. You really get right down to the nitty-gritty. And once you have written a short, writing a feature-length film is simple. It's just more of the same old stuff. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but you really have to understand story, and you have to understand the character and why you need the conflict and what it's there, what your theme is. Really, really get down into that. And that's where a short really stands out. You can tackle a very difficult and very wide subject in a way that feature lengths can't handle. You want to write a short about racism. You want to write a short about homelessness. You want to write a short about drug addiction, stuff like that. And a feature length is just going to go on and on and on, and it's not going to carry its audience or its theme all the way through. So go for it, write shorts.
Yeah, another thing is one of the grants that we're writing with for is indieflix.com. You should check them out. They have so many great shorts and documentaries on that channel. It's like a channel. So I had a really cool conversation with the CEO, told them about my idea, and she says, listen, we have nothing formal. Just go ahead and send me, your full proposal. She loved the idea. So for good experience, every person in the industry that I have ever met, letting them know I'm a writer, even though I've done some productions and script coverage, have all told me the same thing that Mr. Nelson said, write shorts first. If you want to check out Anthony Basgallup, he's one of my mentors. And he was the one that just kept saying to me.
Can you write that down, his name?
Yeah, sure. And he was the one that told me, concentrate on shorts first, because it's just better experience to be a better writer. We all get so gung-ho about features, but you'll see a lot of the features that you know were once short or proof of concept films originally. So you can look up the list. There's some great films out there that we all love, and they were originally shot as shorts or proof of concepts.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm in because when you're talking about, big features, Star Wars, okay, you're all familiar with Star Wars, the franchise, started out as a short film. It was a student film, THX 1136, a really pretty crappy student film. But that was the beginning of the Star Wars franchise. Think about that for a moment.
Brings to mind Ryan. It won an Academy Award, and it was only 13 minutes long, or 18 minutes long.
THX 1138, it started as a short, and then it got turned into a movie itself, which then launched George Lucas's career, but it starred Robert Duvall, and it's a full feature form. So absolutely, wouldn't have Star Wars without it.
Yeah.
So Alex, for your productions, are these animated or live action?
Live action. So if you can imagine, again, it's kind of like educational. So we have one when there's a young girl who's caught giving a blowjob to a young man in the bathroom. The teacher drags her out to the principal. I can't deal with you girls anymore. And the whole rest of the remaining 4.5, 5 minutes is the girl is in a counseling session with the counselor, and all these heavy issues come up that they're involved in this downtown room club. So it's talking about the, you know, self-esteem. Then we have one film that's about this kid who keeps getting bullied and he does something about it. We have one where a girl goes and gets her HIV test results and what happens. So these are all kind of like gritty, urbanish, as I said, short films with a story that someone as an educator could use to introduce these sensitive health topics to a group of young people.
So the audience would be more high school age.
High school and our age group that we work with the clinic is 13 to 29, middle, high, and college.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, I was brought up in the Bay Area, California. I mean, a lot of the content, the videos were very outdated. There were things from the 70s. Like, I mean, we learned all these things like the HIV, and it was just really, I remember me and my friends would just laugh about it, you know, but it's interesting how, you know, new content, I think, you know, yeah, it's interesting how they're making things.
And the selling point of the grant is we're going to shoot it. So if Nick Hill and I were in the scene together and the director calls, cut, is that a wrap? That's a wrap. You and I leave because we did the scene, the story in English. We leave. The two next actors come in and do it in Haitian Creole. Cut, they leave. The two next actors come in and speak Spanish. So actually filming 3 versions of the one film. And that's why the grantors love it. They love that idea that we're doing them in different languages.
What country is it going to be shown in primarily?
So first of all, we want to get the money and start off slowly. So we'll do it in just those 3 languages. But if it really takes off, so it'll be English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. Those are the 3 main languages down here in Miami.
In Miami.
After that, if we get funding and we're successful, we win some awards, we get into festivals, you know, it just snowballs, then there's no problem with trying to be a little more international, especially with these topics, because they're all across the board. All these kids go through the topics, whether they're in Algiers or whether they're in America. So we're kind of starting off small. But I said, I've got some great backing. But again, if you just, you know, you've written some shorts and they may be related to, as I said, some type of health issue. We're looking for things about, you know, sex trafficking. We're looking for things on drug abuse, maybe even COVID. I don't know. As I said, just contact me and I can send you some of the samples.
I know when I see certain types of films and documentaries on PBS, there's quite a few foundations that they get their money from. And I guess you can tap into those. I guess there would be some in your local area and for Florida.
Yeah, it's funny, Christine. I just watched a PBS show about Billy Wilder the other night, and then it got followed by something that I just stayed on. Wasn't really watching it. And then they started mentioning at the end, this was funded by, and I ran and got my phone and snapped a photo of it. And I'm looking for my phone to tell you who they were. I don't know. Oh, here's my phone. So yeah, you and I are on the same page. I'm doing a lot of research. There's a lot of money out there for the arts and education, and I'm putting them both together. I'm using film as the vehicle to teach kids. It's a win-win.
So you said arts, education, and what about health?
Well, yeah, that's what I meant, the health education. Yeah.
Oh, okay, health education.
And it is going through the University of Miami clinic that I run. So we're a non-for-profit clinic. So again, the foundations can accept our proposals because we're a 501c company. So it's a really, really good situation. And I got, you know, as I said, a great person behind me. He's fully on board. So yeah, this could be a really, really big project. Like Nikhil says, you know, maybe we expand internationally and do completely different languages that I haven't even thought about.
Because they're universal topics.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the younger generation is so driven into, you know, videos like what's Instagram and Facebook that, you know, all these outdated shows, I mean, all these outdated things that, you know, people were showing, you know, I think, you know, it'll be more relatable, you know, so I could see how it could be a huge effect, you know, especially because when I was a teenager, there was no social media. So, I can't imagine now,
But then also the drugs keep changing. So all that information has to be updated. But the certain basic things like say self-esteem and bullying is forever. It's never going to change.
Yeah, like cyberbullying. There's more. I mean, I've seen like 13 Reasons Why and what's that one? Euphoria. Both of those shows revolve around these things, like all these high school. Yeah.
Yeah, right now we're thinking of production viability. Mr. Nelson can explain that to you if you don't know what it is. And once we get money behind us, and I think once it snowballs, we can do bigger productions. Right now, I think I'm asking for $15,000 per project, which is nothing. We're basically making, 3 shorts for 15 grand. And that's just now. And then once we produce something, we got more things to show. The next people like Bill Gates Foundation, we're asking for 50,000. So again, it's about the long game. And I'm sure Christine and Mr. Nelson tell everybody in this group every week, it's the long game. Everybody's got to remember that. That's what you're playing here.
And all the small credits start building up.
Yeah, you got to have street cred in this community. You have to. That's why it's always good to try to, well, when we can, to get on sets and make connections. I mean, I came across my connection because I was asked to, as a HIV expert, to come and revamp a script that the director didn't feel was quite right. Spent 3 days with him redoing the script, spent 3 days on set, and 17 years later, I'm friends with him. And this happened to be right before his career took off. So, just never know how the one major connection can really impact you just because, I went and did something out of the kindness of my heart for my community. I wasn't being paid to go through the script. So
is it common for established screenwriters to work on, short scripts just for, pro bono or just for their interest or,
I think a lot of them have started out professionally, like Mr. Nelson said, writing shorts and then moving up. But a lot of people who are in the industry and have a lot of street cred and, make their A-list writers, directors, they're always looking to give back to this community, always. And I think if you make the right connections, Christine talks about it all the time. I just did it today. I met a lady who runs the Blacklist. And I asked her, can I follow you on LinkedIn just so we can stay in touch? And she was like, sure, that's fine. She goes, thank you for asking. So you never know. I think people in the industry who have achieved a lot are always willing to give back and pay it forward. So what are their vanity projects? I really don't know. I know a lot of minority directors and now looking to kind of mentor the next wave of minority directors coming up. So I see that a lot as well. So I think the community sometimes gets a bad rap because how cutthroat it can be, but I've kind of seen the opposite. I've kind of seen people really band together on certain projects. So maybe I'm a little naive or I'm just seeing the glass half full here, but from my experience, the last 7 years.
You touched upon one thing that is very important. And that is that making movies is a community project. And you have to get out there and mix and mingle with the people. Make your connections. Shake hands. Belly up to the bar. Really get out there. You can't sit behind your computer screen and have it happen to you. It ain't gonna happen. And my just going out and making connections, I started out just being a starry-eyed teenager on a set. Had no idea what I was doing, but I got to work with John Wayne. And, I've been able to work on sets where I've been, sitting next door or sitting right beside Alfred Hitchcock, Hitch. And I've been, invited to cast parties at the Globe in Aspen, where we were shooting a lot of the first films. And it's all connections. That's what it is. And I can't get this through to young people who just don't seem to get it. They just think that they're going to sit there behind their cell phone or their computer screen and it's going to happen. It ain't going to happen, kids. It just ain't. You get out there and meet people and put yourself out there, become viable on a set, and your career, if you decide that you really want to be a writer, if you want to be a screenwriter, you're not going to start as a Quentin Tarantino and work your way down. It doesn't work that way. You're going to start at the bottom and maybe work your way up. And a lot of those guys that you're looking up to, who are the quintessential Hollywood writers, there are only probably a dozen or so of them. They really don't want you taking away their jobs. So they're not really going to help you very much. I mean, you have to keep that in mind. But making the connections as you go through the process is the only way it's going to work, period.
If you guys don't mind me asking, just as someone who's kind of starting out in the industry right now, what do you guys find the best way of making these connections? Like, I'm here for that same reason. Like, I'm here to meet some people and make connections all throughout the industry. But what do you guys find the best way to go about that?
Steve, you're doing it. You've already joined these type of groups. I mean, you know, you're on board, like Mr. Nelson said, wherever and whenever productions start coming up, you can always try to get volunteers or go to your local film school. That's what I do with a lot of my connections. I work with those film schools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many ways these days to connect to the industry. Not saying you're going to fully get in and get a paid job, but constantly join sites that can help you. I'm sure Christine sends a lot of lists. You should go through them, see which ones that you find that are really good for you. I mean, there's a few. I like Coverfly because I like to do script coverage and get feedback from my peers. There's Talentville, which is another good site that I met Julian on. So there's a lot of things out there, and Christine's a wealth of information. You can get a lot of that stuff to you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add something? I have done a few different little things, like doing this, but I've got a really good friend, screenwriting friend, who he did the Warner Brothers program, and he was even in the room way back when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was on, and he moved away from it, and then I met him at a writers group on meetup.com, and they do, that's like a global thing, so they have writers groups all around the world. And you know, I'm friends with this guy for years now, and he gives me great feedback. He's, you know, the best feedback for me. And I did a course, did a short course. I've done a few actually, and I'll meet people, and I got into doing a crewing on a couple of short films, and just for nothing. You know, I've put myself out there as much as I can, meeting people and, you know, crewing and doing things. And you just gotta, like I said before, it's a long game. It takes, you know, it's just, you got to be there for, you know, till you drop dead. You just got to keep going and not give up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the basic answer to your question is get your butt on a set.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all it really boils down to.
That's what I was about to say. You know, it depends on what you want to do as well. If you want to remain a writer, then it's not necessarily that important, but become a production assistant. You know, that's like the lowest position, but you see everything on the set. And you see the whole, where if you're in camera department, you see camera department. If you're in wardrobe or production design, you see a small part of the set. If you're on a production assistant on a, you know, especially a large production, you end up seeing everything. And if you're paying attention, you can, you know, you can feed that into your writing, because you realize that scene that you wanted to write is going to take 2 days to shoot, even though it's 2 lines. And that's going to affect your budget and just things like that. But also you get to see the overall production. Maybe you want to be somewhere else. Maybe you want to direct. Maybe you want to produce. Production assistant is where you start on anything and everything. And you know, that's what I would say. Definitely, as Doug said, get on set. You have to, and you just have to, because that's where it is.
Yeah, kind of like a follow-up question to that. Sorry, I don't want to take up too much time, but like you said, Shadow, like getting on set, and Doug as well, getting on set is super important, and especially how you mentioned the production assistant jobs. So that's kind of something that's been told to me before. So I've been trying to keep an eye out for those kinds of positions. I think
also, you should see about your local cable station, because that's where I got my training. And at the Hamilton Cable 14, I became associate producer, and I produced at least 10 news magazine stories, and I won an award for it.
Oh, awesome. That's amazing.
So that's, you know, where you get free training and, you know, opportunities for your resume.
For sure, yeah. That's kind of something I was gonna say, is like, where do you guys, like, I'm thinking LinkedIn or something isn't the best kind of spot to look for.
No. Where are you located?
I'm in kind of in the, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I'm in the GTA, one end of Burlington. So I'm not too far off from Toronto.
Filmlocal.com, filmlocal.com. They're all over North America, but they're mainly Canadian. So you'll find, you know, once or twice a week, there might be something that might interest you on there. It's easy, it's free to join, it's just free. Facebook groups, there's Production 911, there's paid film jobs, there's a whole bunch of Facebook groups, and there's a number of them are Canadian specific. Let's see, I would say staffmeup.com. That's Staff Me Up, and but it's not really free. They give you a freebie to start, and then they try to charge you stuff. But there's a lot of work on there, you know, and some of it's Canada. Actually, more of it would be in Canada. I'm sure they geolocate. So, but lots of stuff on Facebook. Craigslist, Gigs, Crew, and Gigs Creative for your local area. And you can look among those things. You should find some opportunities.
Okay, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
But if you're in Burlington, you need to go to the local Cogeco station there in Burloak, because I've had my own interview shows there and been interviewed.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. Thank you.
Okay, so it's soon time to go. So let's go around and tell us what you're planning to do for the next 2 weeks to work on your goals. So Steve, what are you going to be? You need to go check into that, like I said, Burlington cable station, and what else? You've got an opportunity if to contact Alex if you want to work on his scripts.
Yeah, for sure. No, this has been a great chat. So I'll definitely check in with the stuff mentioned. And 2021, I want to kind of get my feet settled a bit more in the industry and try to start making my way a bit more. So definitely looking for lots of opportunities and just continuing to write.
Great, good. Julian, what about you?
Well, I just told Alex, hit me up. Fine, I'll go for this short, because I want to write one of everything before I die. So, you know, work is, you know, generally dark, but like I'm doing a comedy now, so I like some variety. But you know, I really want to get the ball rolling on Act 3 here. One note too is that you know, I told you part of my thing is I'm cleaning up a lot of old scripts, because I wrote for, well, I wrote my first screenplay around, I finished it around the end of 1997. So I have I have a huge backlog of things to fix up, and someone on LinkedIn, Gino Scali, actually looked at my latest script and said, you know, it's full of passive language. And I was like, what? I went through, I know passive language is bad in screenplays, and I thought I fixed that, and I went through it, and it was like horrible. It was passive language everywhere, and I was just like, "How did this happen?" So I was just like pulling, like trying to pull like one, thread out of a sweater without ruining the sweater. But so I went through and did that. But I have a bunch of others too that I now need to go through again, because as soon as he said it, I saw it, and it was like, God, it's everywhere. So
yeah.
I went and fixed it up, and so I have 4 other scripts to go back to and work on that. But main goal is to try to make some progress. I got 20 more pages to go on this comedy, so I want to get that done and get some more queries out there.
Good. Sherry.
Hi. I'm next 2 weeks. I'll be working on my Christmas horror feature. I'm 40 pages in at the moment, and it has, well, I think mostly just 3 locations, 1 main location at a house. So, like people were saying before, I was looking to do something that had limited locations. I think that's what I'll mostly concentrate in the next 2 weeks.
Great. Ardell.
As far as writing goes, I just finished reviewing the audio files for my second audio book, and I'm editing or rewriting for the hopefully the last time, Murder by Pins and Needles. But on the film side, the script side, I'm going to follow up with Alex on his the things that he was recommending there. And hopefully when I get this third thing published, I will be able to spool up my, and by then I'll have amassed a little bit of intelligence to do the my first screenplay. One thing I wanted to say to Steve was that cub reporters often rub shoulders with the important people and interview important people in the field. If a cub reporter can get on in the entertainment section. I met a man in Mexico who was a cub reporter in San Francisco, and he went on a cruise when he was a teenager as a cub reporter, and he saw the premiere showing of Wuthering Heights on the cruise, and he was given the exclusive reporting. So as soon as it landed, he went straight to his newspaper and did the first review of Wuthering Heights. So I mean, that was probably 70 years ago or 80 years ago, and but I think that entertainment category of reporters is, especially if you're already a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
yeah.
That's my advice.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So Shadow, you've already got a lot on board for the next 2 weeks.
That's right, but I'm adding more. I'm also organizing an open forum to discuss things with other streaming platforms, independent streaming platforms, streamers and distributors. As you may know, if you're observing, there's 1 or 2 popping up every week, and none of them have anything happening for the most part, but there are a few that are trying to make a go of it, like us. And our purpose is to kind of define best practices for the independent industry, which is very different. We have very different concerns and issues and challenges than mainstream. And there's other things happening that are going to affect us in the very near future, like licensing and things like that coming up the pike. So we're dealing with that. I wanted to add one thing for Steve. If you are serious about making a profession in the entertainment industry, even when you start out as a PA, don't do it for free. The cool thing about being a PA is that you get paid to learn. Mm-hmm. You do a lot of crap jobs, but do nothing for free. I never wrote anything for free. I don't write on spec. I don't. If I'm in a production that needs writing, I get paid to do that. I just don't do spec stuff. I've never done anything for free. I do photography at a professional level. From day one, I got paid to do that. If I could practice on my own, I would, but I wouldn't do something for free. And the reason is it doesn't matter that I get how much I get paid. I don't need to be paid top dollar, but I need to be paid something. And you should take that attitude. You don't need to be paid top dollar, especially if you're learning and inexperienced, but you need to be paid something. And that's a professional attitude to begin with. And you'll find that very experienced people in the industry appreciate that and will take that into account. You know, just throw that out there.
For sure.
And that's it. I'm looking forward to the next meeting.
Great.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
fact,
one thing I would add there for you, Steve, is that you may not get paid dollars, but you're going to get paid experience, and they better damn well feed you. You ain't working for free. So keep that in mind. Yeah, even though somebody may not be willing to pay you top dollar or union fees, you're worth something, even if it's a free lunch.
Yeah, yeah, at least.
And one thing I want to say to Shadow is to send me an invite on stage 32, or I'll send you one on stage 32, and we can swap our emails, because I really want to see if I can pick up some of that 8K footage to experiment with.
Sure, I put it actually in chat for you, but I'll try to add you on stage 32.
Yeah, you know.
So Fatima, you've got your script to work on the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, also I'm watching the Scar movies, and also I read the screenwriter Bibles, and also I'm working on my script.
Good, good. And Nick, you've got 2 scripts to work on the next 2 weeks?
Yeah. So, I mean, in addition to working on those scripts, I want to, get more familiar with the ink tip and screenwriter staffing. I want to sign up for their newsletters, potentially just get more, more information on that.
And the other thing you need to do is, when we ask you about your scripts, you have to be more succinct, because you ramble a bit too much.
Okay.
It's like a log line. You got to be able to say 2 sentences for each of your scripts. So work on that for next time.
Yeah, and I'll review your email for the log lines.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, I'm going to reach out to Alex about some logline resources he said that he'll give me, and get more. I think he said dramatic education short story samples that. I'll get some samples from him. And,
good.
Yeah, but just gonna work on the 2 scripts that I have, and expand on it, and until we meet next time and give you an update.
2 weeks, yes.
In 2 weeks, yeah. So that's January
18th. Monday the 18th.
And we'll get the invite by Friday, the 15th.
On the Friday, yes.
Okay. If I don't get it, just in case, I'll just send you.
You'll email me. Okay.
Okay.
And Vivian, are you working on anything next 2 weeks?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I have been working on a feature story, and I've had all the extensive outline written up. So I will finish this outline so I can send out to some of the people in my network, so that I can start writing my script. And I just want to say something to Steve. I haven't had a chance to say earlier. I started making film 5 years ago, and I started from my film school. I started to help people make short films from my film school, and after film school, these people introduced me to other people. And I also work with the school film, and I got to produce 2 feature film. One is documentary, one is drama. And I also took up any role that I could get on beside producer. I do AD, I do camera work, I do anything. And some of the people that I know, and after film school, we form a group called a production group with all different skills. And some of the films were being made and sent to festivals. And one person had his 2 films sent to festivals. So that's how we started. Because if you want your script to be made into film, that may be, a route for you to start.
I have a couple of friends from film school who we've kind of discussed possibly writing just something short this year and just making it just to make something, just kind of for the fun of it this year. So yeah, it's definitely a good asset to have, like from film school, knowing those people who you kind of already worked with and you work well with. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Steve, I've heard that one of the best benefits of film school is that networking, getting to know artists out there, and then, pays dividends down the road because as, you're a pretty young guy, so you got a great future ahead of you, and that maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, someone there is making something and you get to be part of that. So I'm very envious. I'm glad that you got to go there, but I wish I could have gone to film school.
Yeah.
So Doug, anything that you're going to be working on next couple of weeks besides finding short films for your channel?
Well, actually, I'm working on developing the show itself, getting it back up and running, and bringing it out from under the COVID cloud and stuff like that. But I think that's where I'm going to put my effort. But I was going to say, in the meantime, I'm out of wine. It's time to go. Happy New Year to one and all of you. And just remember, keep your head down, your powder dry, and you'll be just fine.
So what I'm going to be doing the next couple of weeks, I should get my notes from my script doctor on my first Hallmark script. And then, like I said, I'm working on my second one, and keep making new contacts on LinkedIn and check out the log lines that some people have submitted. So tomorrow you'll get that chat and the sheet I put together about log lines. So our next Zoom meeting is on Monday, January the 18th, 7 to 9 p.m. And I normally send out the notice on the 15th, on the Friday sometime. So if you don't get it, please contact me. And so have a great 2 weeks. Happy New Year. And let's work on our projects to get them to fruition in the new year. Bye for now.
Okay, see you guys.
Thank you, Christine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.